were we and our family, the first one that hooked me, because of course I was in the store, then I'm at my computer, Google Kiva, and I found that their website is a whole host of people who are saying, through this organization, I need a loan, and it's people in third world countries. So they're not going to the Bank of BC, or they're not going to the Royal Bank, and that sort of thing. It just doesn't happen. They don't have books. But the first one I read, I locked into it. It was a fellow who, I don't even remember the country, but it might have been Indonesia. It was in one of those in there, and he was looking for a $200 loan because he supported his family through a wagon and a kiosk in the little town village center, and it had been vandalized, and he couldn't do that. So he needed $200 to repair his car so he could go provide for his family. I read another one where there was a 40-something black woman supporting, I don't know how many children, not all of them were here, hers, but she was one of these Earth Mothers caregivers, and she had a pharmacy in her house. It was a pantry, but in the village, that was the old pharmacy. She made clothing, went door to door selling clothing. In other words, she was an entrepreneur at its best, and she was out in the house, but she needed $50 in order to buy an ingredient to make something that she was sure she could sell in the morning to the workers going off to work. That's what Kiva lends to. Entrepreneurs like us that were fortunate enough to be born here, where we still have the option of the American dream by and large. And so, in order to help all of us feel extra good about this day for a whole lot longer, Avitan we've started a foundation group in there, and we are going to do a funding equal to the number of companies that are represented here. And each of you, in your turn, will be responsible for picking who your lending goes to. And that's going to be a real hoot, because you log on and you can set your criteria. By the way, there's even a construction section. And I thought, yeah, let's all do this in construction. I'm not proud to say this, but I'm going to share this with you about construction. Okay, it's going to be plumbers, and it's going to be bricklayers, and it's going to be and that's going to make sense for our group to fund that criteria. And when I got on there, I went to one after the other, after the other, after the other, and it's a father saying, I need my lending, I need $180 to put a new roof on my house, so it doesn't leak nothing. That's not construction. I need to have $75 or $775 to put some screens on the windows because my children are constantly being bitten and they're always sick and malaria and all that. That's not construction. And I kept, sometimes I got such a thick head. And I was going one after the other. I was like, come on, where's the construction company? I want to make a difference in something that matters. And then the lights went on. If we raise the standard of living for someone, there'll be more construction. Just a thought for you. Anyway, so passing along the giving, we will set up the fund. Dan doesn't know this yet, but you're going to work with Hannah, who's going to be the manager. And basically what it's going to be, we couldn't formalize anything because we didn't know how many companies were going to be showing and how much. Now we know. So we know how many loans are going to be going out, and each and every one of you will get your contact, because we're not going to make the loan on behalf of you. I mean, we will financially, but I want you two to put your heads together and decide where you're going. I want you four. That would be fun. Put your heads together and decide how accurate it's going to be. Let me tell you something. It just feels so good to be able to do something like this. And the fact that of these, it was 145, maybe by today it's $147 million loan. What do you think the percentage of repayment is? Because it is a loan to these people. They're not given the money.
It's higher.
Pretty darn high. 98.6% of these loans are repaid.
They pay over a year, slowly, but they pay back.
But they're paid back. And some of them come back and get, ask for another loan. It's such a cool thing.
You would have that account. You wouldn't have that payback as much as you do.
Hell no, this is better than a bank.
Not at all, not at all. I checked with the banks and each of them told me a different story, and I don't believe any of them because, that's what was going on. And now I make a point of, as much as I can, and I won't tell you what, if I've got my own limit, I must do. These are my own musts. It has nothing to do with anybody telling. My must do is at least this many times a week. I must do something nice for somebody, and they can't find out. If they find out that it was me, I have to do something else. And you know what else? Besides making me feel good, it keeps my mind off the things that in the future will drive me down. You know? Because squiggly lines, yeah, we're great at, but oh man, we've got the attention span of a rubber band, and it's in you totally. If you I can't imagine what we're like to sell to. It's like we do the selling. Because anybody came, unless they had something like that, I'm off there planning, well, my idea of long-term planning, all is, what are you doing this weekend? But I'm off on a million things. What color would be that in design? And I'm trying to listen, So I found that it calms my mind down. Because instead of focusing on everything else, I've got a channel for it. And I don't know if you try it out, you might agree with me. This giving thing is wildly underestimated. It's really, really cool thing to do. So, Avitan in 2010, Kiva group will live forever. Everybody in this room, we're joined at the hip. How's that? Rule number 3, I actually picked on triangles, but rule number 3 we got from triangles. Triangle squiggly lines, it's kind of something that both share. I point to you because you're trying to be squiggly line. And, yeah, or Greg. I think he's got some triangle in there too, just a little.
Just a little.
Ooh, yeah.
How much?
No way.
Rule number 3, really, seriously, you've heard it before, seriously, seize the moment. Live in the moment. We've all read those Hallmark greeting cards that says, well, the past is past, and, the future's whatever, and all we've got is the present, and it's a gift. That's not just words, that's true. Seize the moment. It's this times when, like Amy said, time's the one thing that we can't replace. We can lose money, we can lose a client, we can lose a business, we can lose a house, we can lose a boat. No, can't lose a boat, that's not life. But all these things, maybe they can all be replaced. Time is the one thing that keeps us all on the same playing field. It's the one thing that we cannot replace. And at the end of the day, it's all we've got. How many in here have lost a loved one? What a life lesson. It reminds me of a story. Actually, I can remember this. Obviously, it's one of those put together, but how the story went is successful businessman driving a Jaguar. Yeah, and he's peeling down the street, and he thinks, well, maybe I'm going a little too fast. This is a neighborhood, so he slows down a little bit. And as he's slowing down, he sees a motion between the two cars on the right. And out of the air comes a brick flying at his car. His beautiful Jaguar gets hit by this brick, and there's a significant dent, and he sees the kid that threw it. He screeches on the brake, stops the car, runs out, grabs the kid by the scruff of the neck, and starts yelling at him. Don't you understand the damage you've done, how much money that's going to cost you? Don't you respect other people? And he's just railing on this kid who's starting to cry. Why? When the Jaguar driver comes down, and after the little kid tells him, I didn't know what else to do, in response to, why did I do it? I didn't know what else to do. I tried to stop cars, but nobody would stop for me, and I need help. My brother's in a wheelchair right around the corner. He's fallen out of it, and I'm not strong enough to get him in, and he's laying on the street. Well, all of a sudden, this irate Jaguar driver, his heart is in front of his, head kind of thing. And of course, he immediately goes and helps the child get his brother Is that 10 minutes or 2 5s?
That's 10.
It helps him get his brother in the wheelchair, and he was so moved by that. He didn't say the kids are thanking him, and all he could do was watch him go down the street. And you know what? And the businessman never did get the dent fixed in his car. Yeah, it made his Jaguar look less pretty, but he said, I don't want to do that because I don't ever want to forget that again. I don't want to be in such a hurry that life has to throw a brick at me in order to get my attention. Something I just said reminded me of that. I thought you might enjoy that story. Rule number 4, you've heard this one before, rethink it again, it's true. 2 words, be grateful.